Welcome back everybody to another video. We got some gun cam footage that we picked up from the last couple days, and I just kind of want to walk through some of these fights here. A lot of the concepts and a lot of the basics we've pretty much already covered here on this channel, but it's nice to kind of keep refreshing some of the standard kind of tactics and standard kind of maneuvers and see how they all fit together, right? I believe strongly that the more you see something done from different perspectives and different ways of doing things, the easier it becomes to kind of understand some of these concepts, right? So let's kind of walk into it here. Now the video is slowed down here to 40% of the actual speed that we're looking for, because I want to kind of have you guys visualize what's actually happening here, right? Now, aside from all the basic stuff, you know, less is more, moving into the shots here, like what we just did right there was an S turn, right? Because again, it's all relative to the enemy knows and its relationship to you, right? You'll notice very clearly that we're fighting in pitch, because if you look at where the enemy's fighter is and where my rotations are putting me, you'll notice that I'm always rolling myself into a pitch shot. And if you're watching carefully also, you'll notice that we're doing what's called inside rolls, or clockwise inside rolls, because we have an orbital direction relative to us that's moving in a clockwise direction. So rolling to the right is what's known as an inside roll. Here it gets a little interesting. He actually reverses the direction, but he reverses it at too high of an energy state on that turn. So he basically just kind of stands still in space and kind of rotates on the spot. If you look carefully, you'll notice that I'm orbiting my enemy in an orbital direction while he starts to kind of turn his nose around. So when we do want to do turnarounds, or if we want to reverse the direction of the fight, what we want to do is we want to reverse it when both myself and the enemy's orbital directions have kind of paralyzed, or they've kind of neutralized out. So we're kind of facing nose to nose against each other, rather than one guy kind of standing still and the other one orbiting around them, right? We kind of want to avoid those situations, because what will happen is on my screen, he'll remain relatively static, as you can see here. And so what we want to do is once our orbital directions kind of flatten out, then we want to reverse the fight, because until that position comes available, what ends up happening is you'll see here is you end up basically standing still relative to your opponent, which puts you at a disadvantage because you become an easier target to hit. Easier target obviously means you die faster. So we have another fight here up against a buccaneer that actually came in about after we fought that arrow. And what I like about this fight here is it kind of shows pretty clearly like how important it is to just kind of always maintain nose control no matter what, right? So into this first turn here, again, that buccaneer way too heavy on his throttle as he comes in. And again, once we get received damage, we start to corkscrew away, and we're just filling this guy full of holes. A little bit of pre-turn there as we come into the turn. He's trying to burn away, but again, right, he's burning away and he's pulling so hard up that he's telegraphing where he wants to go. I'm going to pre-nose him here just a little bit, get myself right into the slot, and boom, there I got him. Okay, so let's watch that again. There's a critical mistake here I want you to focus on. Regardless of whether or not you're using decoupled or coupled, it doesn't matter. The fundamentals all exist the same, right? Into this merge we have here, you'll notice that the buccaneer starts to turn, and he gets guns on me back around about 1,000 meters here. And the critical mistake he has here is he becomes way too strong on his throttle. You'll see he ends up creating so much energy, and because he has so much energy, he puts himself into a disadvantageous position, to the point where he takes way too many hits on the turnaround. So as he comes in here, he should be engaging me, but he's not, because he's built up so much energy thinking he's going to get in on me here. But because we're basically in a rate fight now, which the arrow is going to win because it has a higher rate, and I'm turning on the 45, so I'm using my pitch and my yaw, I got about 3 seconds before he even starts to fire at me. And then when he starts to fire at me, I do a small little corkscrew to shake off any kind of incoming damage. He's pissing away his ammo. He's not applying any damage because he's way too far away. And now he starts to make his critical mistake. He blows through here, and where he should continue on and just completely disengage entirely, he decides to immediately start turning back around. And this is what really gets him killed, because I get almost half an entire mag in already here. And as I'm starting to charge my guns for the next attack, I'm pre-nosing. because I'm looking at the nose direction of his buccaneer. He's obviously thinking about returning into the fight. But again, right, superior maneuvering on the arrow is going to put me in a better position. And even though he's finally got guns back on me here, his shields are already down. He's already shot to pieces. I've already got guns on him before he has a chance to get on me. And he puts himself at a very low energy state, which allows me to make too many hits too soon together, right? The lower energy state you are in something like a medium fighter, the easier it's going to be to apply damage. It's really just that simple. All right, we got one more fight here from the gun cams that we got today. And this one was pretty interesting. It's basically what not to do when disengaging, right? Sometimes you're going to be put into a position where you're going to be in a bad spot. You take a bad trade on the first turn, like you'll see here. You know, he's coming in, he's getting guns on target. But again, a nice solid pitch track. As beautiful as a shot as you can ask for. Most of the damage applying. And again, look at my vector indicator. It comes up and then it slowly starts to roll around, comes across the nose again. And then I start to go into a clockwise rate fight. Nice and close here. Position my bottom thruster so that I'm always hugging the corner to pull myself towards the target. Watch my vector indicator, pull myself returning to center. Again, returning to center one of your classics. So now he's had 2 turns there where he's lost both those rate fights because he wasn't fighting on the 45. So he was out of position. And this is his big mistake. As he tries to disengage, you'll notice that he's doing these unnecessary kind of rolls, right? And what I'm doing is I'm actually look at my vector indicator. It's always moving the direction that I know he is trying to go towards. Right? My nose might be moving independently from my vector, but to get a shot on him. But my vector is always pushing towards where my predicted point where he is kind of pushing towards. Right? What I mean by that is the direction that my ship is moving is always kind of mirroring or pushing alongside whatever direction my enemy I'm trailing. Right? Now that comes in decoupled. It's again, decoupled doesn't really matter. The point is you always want to make sure that your movement direction is always giving you that extra bit of kind of corner cutting ability. Close the gap between your opponent as quick as you can. Because if you can close the gap, you can get the distance and then you can get the guns on target. Regardless of whether or not that fight landed a kill at around 900 meters per second, what mattered the most was that my drift direction was in line with his movement, which allowed me to keep the closest distance between myself and him. So his separation was very little. So I stayed within that maximum range, that maximum tolerance, and I was able to score the kill. So there you go, guys. There's 3 fights. These were 3 fights I picked from the day that I felt I had some good teaching points. And again, right, these are all basics that we've covered before here on the channel. But again, it's always down to repetition, right? If you get into the habit of sitting down and watching some of these videos every day, you're going to start noticing patterns. And when you start to notice the patterns, you can start to fix or start to train good patterns and get rid of the bad patterns, right? So this was a pretty good video, just kind of outlining some basics, right? What not to do during disengagement, what not to do when it comes to losing your energy on the second fight. And on the first fight, what not to do on just basic roll aim and just kind of getting out positioned and not noticing what kind of danger you could put yourself into, right? Because if you put yourself into an inertia spot where you basically are standing still relative to the enemy, that's a bad spot to be in, right? Doesn't matter if you've got tons of shields and energy, you're going to be taking unnecessary hits. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you today. Again, right? That little bit of 1% every day, right? So just get your ass in the seat and start flying and enjoy the process. All right, guys, take a look at Predator mounts if you're interested in getting a mounting system for your joysticks. They're the ones I use. I find them to be absolutely fantastic. Use the code Avenger1 if you're interested in getting a mounting system with a discount. And also, guys, thank you so much for all the support here on the YouTube channel and on the Twitch stream. I was Avenger1, and I'll see you next time.